I'm still the president's wingman. That is an age test. If you're under the age of 40, you may not know who that is, but let's see. If you're politically astute, you might not. I mean, you might know. But if you're younger than that, you might not. We're going to get to that. This is The Ordinary American. Today's show is about hypocrisy and double standards. Boy, is there a lot. The left doesn't have anything else. It's always lies. This show is dedicated to the battle between the left and the right. We do a fair amount on faith and health and financial health because the left needs you unhealthy mentally, spiritually, and financially and physically. So we're going to get into some of the medical tyrannies that we've been subjected to, including some more Fauci nonsense. We're going to go back and revisit it. All right. Welcome. Please like, subscribe, and follow. If I didn't say it already, this is The Ordinary American, and I'm your host, Paul Sarkis. On this show, we believe that voting for Democrats is like breaking into jail. And most of the time, you're breaking other people into jail, particularly if you're breaking out of jail, the Democrat-controlled states. Last week, we started heavy on this mayor's race in Los Angeles. Why? Because as we pointed out and have done each day since, it is a proxy fight for the battle between the left and the right. It is a proxy fight for the battle for America. The good guys are winning, and we will win. But gaining control of Los Angeles and having the citizens wake up is going to be extremely helpful. What's going on in Los Angeles is devastating. I left Los Angeles in 2020-21 after close to 20 years, could not raise a family there. It was tyranny to the nth degree, and it was getting really bad. So I'm talking about something that I know when I say people who leave LA leave because they are fed up, okay, in California in general. Just imagine if Spencer Pratt can win this mayor's race on the first ballot, the jungle primary, June 2nd, about less than a month away now. California, again, corruption, rigged the system. Once they got total control, they do these jungle primaries. They have everybody run, no parties, and the top two go to the general election. Why? Because they figured we can knock out any opposition, and the top two will always essentially be on the same party, so that the people will have no choices. That is not happening now. Now that system is, you might hear, I got two French bulldogs in here, both of which are extremely gassy. So if you see my face cringe up, it means I'm being smoked out by these two. They're also semi-sleeping, so they're loud. All right. So in LA, it's sort of turning itself around now. Spencer Pratt is gaining so much momentum. He's running an amazing campaign, and you can tell that it's working, partly because of the polls, although I don't really believe polls ever, particularly the lefty polls, but mostly because there's one of the dogs, mostly because the left has come out with the daggers now. Now they're bringing out the personal attacks. He's not this. He's a reality star. He's an idiot. He didn't really live in LA. He now rents a place in Santa Barbara. All the personal attacks. That's when you know things are happening. Today, we're probably not going to mention much about that race, but I wanted to mention it some because it is crazy important. All right, so let's move on to the topic today. I am still the president's wingman. All right, now before we get to that, we need a little bit of Thomas Sowell. Okay, let's read this. The real motives of liberals have nothing to do with the welfare of other people. Instead, they have two related goals: to establish themselves as morally and intellectually superior to the rather distasteful population of common people, ordinary Americans, and to gather as much power as possible to tell those distasteful common people, ordinary Americans, how they must live their lives. Okay? That is a great summary of the left, of the Democrats. And all of you, by the way, even if you've been voting Democrat, you know that's true. You've seen and felt and maybe even been self-righteous. the famous line by Hillary Clinton, the deplorables, okay? Or when Obama, which we're going to get to here in a second, talked about the people who clung to their guns and their religion. Heck yeah. First and Second Amendment, yeah, we cling to it, okay? So that's the backdrop. Now, we're going to get to 2 or 3 examples, but the main one we're going to play, we're going to go to it first, if I can find it. There it is, because it is Obama. He is coming out of hiding. Quick comment that I suspect strongly that he's coming out now because something's happening with this grand conspiracy case. He is getting more public and he is getting more pointed, talking about Trump as several things happen. One, the Trump plan is working. We'll touch a little bit on that today. The Trump plan is working despite the awful gas prices. I just drove by one of my local gas stations. It's over $4 a gallon. I hate it, but I also understand the plan, and the plan is working. Obama is coming out of the woodwork. He was just doing an interview. Let's see if I can get this blown up, and then we can listen to it. I tried to tee it up.
Now have to codify it. The White House shouldn't be able to direct the Attorney General to go around prosecuting whoever the president wants prosecuted.
Right, because technically it's under the...
Okay, I'm not going to play the rest of it because he's such a windbag, and in my opinion, he's such a loser. I'm not going to give him any screen time. But he is essentially doing, by the way, did you notice what Thomas Sowell said in that video? They're morally superior. They want to tell everybody that they know what's best for them, the disdain he has for Trump. So now we're going to play the very famous line. Here it is. I'll get it up. This is the answer to that test I gave at the beginning. Who said that line? I'm still the president's wingman. Well, that was none other than Eric Holder, Obama's attorney general. Now, I'm going to play the audio so you can hear what he said.
Mr. Attorney General, please.
Well, I'm happy. I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. There's still work to be done. I'm still a president's wingman, so I'm there with my boy.
Yeah.
You hear that? I'm still the president's wingman. I'm still here with my boy. Just imagine if Todd Blanche said today, I'm the president's wingman. I'm here with my boy. Heads would explode. Obama is on camera saying we can't have the attorney general directed by the president. First of all, I would ask, why not? Who is he supposed to be directed by? The attorney general and the Department of Justice are in the executive branch. Are we supposed to believe that the Department of Justice is supposed to be this independent branch? No oversight? Who's going to give them oversight? This is one of the nonsense fairy tales Comey and others were telling back in Trump 1, that the FBI shouldn't be subject to the White House's oversight or the White House's directives. Why? What on earth good could come of the power of law enforcement with no oversight? Because Obama doesn't say Congress should be in charge of them. By the way, that's not what's written in the Constitution. Obama doesn't say the Senate or some civilian board. He just tricks people. And he says self-righteously, arrogantly, talking down to people, the White House shouldn't direct things of the department, just shouldn't direct the Department of Justice. I am still the president's wingman. I'm still here with my boy. Now, does that sound like somebody who is independent? Doesn't sound like an independent voice to me. He didn't act independent. He never one time looked into any of the behaviors of Obama, not once. All the drone killings, never looked into it. All the spying. Obama spied on James Rosen from Fox. He spied on the US Senate. No look at that. Nothing. The Department of Justice never looked in to Lois Lerner in 2012 election cycle, targeting conservative nonprofits, restricting them from getting that nonprofit exemption, which restricted their ability to raise funds, etc., but made sure the Democrat nonprofits not only had the nonprofit status, but operated with complete immunity. Department of Justice never looked into any of that under Holder. And we're not even getting into the bad stuff. Okay, we're not even getting into the guns into Mexico or any of the really bad stuff. Obama is lying to you. As the title from a few days ago, our show a few days ago, stop falling for it. If you have been voting Democrat, stop. You're breaking yourself and the rest of us into jail. They are nothing but liars and leftists. If you've been voting for them because your dad voted for them or your grandfather voted for them, I am sorry, but that is not the same party. You are being tricked. I'm going to give one more example of this unbelievable hypocrisy and ridiculousness. Okay, this is a clip of Schumer. By the way, I said it yesterday. If Barack Obama ran today on the exact same platform from 2008, he wouldn't be able to win the primary because the Democrat Party is so far gone. Certainly not Bill Clinton, etc. Okay? This is a great example. This is a clip of Schumer from 2009. That's not 1999. It's not 1989. It's 2009. That's not even that long ago. Okay? This is him talking about illegal immigration. I'm going to rewind it. Hold on one second. It's open. All right, listen to this.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. The American people are fundamentally pro-legal immigration and anti-illegal immigration. Illegal immigration is wrong. And a primary goal of comprehensive immigration reform must be to dramatically curtail future illegal immigration by dramatically reducing the number of illegal aliens who are able to enter the United States. We will create room for both families and employment-based immigrants so that the total number of immigrants to our country is no greater than today. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the...
All right, it goes on. By the way, this is the great Mays Moore, an unbelievable account. Don't know him. He doesn't know me. But I highly recommend it. He puts together these clips where you can see their own words. Okay? That is 2009. Illegal immigration is wrong. Now, he's also wrong because he's trying to say a pathway to citizenship and comprehensive immigration reform. By the way, every time you hear comprehensive immigration reform, you should immediately check all your fingers and your pockets and all of the things around you that are yours because you're being robbed from. That is a sure sign someone's trying to steal something from you. That is elected class speech for we're going to pass a big bill, we're going to get paid and get rich through the nose, but you're going to suffer because we're going to flood the country with the illegals. He's there saying illegal immigration is wrong. Now he's going on to say the comprehensive immigration reform nonsense. But in 2009, you can make one of two cases. Either he's being honest and he believes that it's illegal, or he just knows that Americans are against it, as he said, and he knows he has to say that to get elected. Either way, hypocrisy, double standards. You could do 100 shows in a row with video clips like this. I don't even know if I'm going to show it. There's a clip of Elizabeth Warren, which I got. I'm not going to put it on. I don't even want to give her screen time. But she's essentially talking about how back when Biden was still in office, how the Fed should lower interest rates. And then now she's talking about how the Fed should be an independent agency. Again, I'm going to go back and say, it's never been an independent agency. It shouldn't be an independent agency. They're all politicians. They have to go through a political process to get on the board or become the Fed chairman. It's not. It's pretended to be. We all have to sort of pretend like, oh, they're just like academics or they're just like good government workers who worry about the numbers. No. They're all politicians, all of them, the entire elected class. They live different lives than you and I do. They have different rules. We've done whole episodes on this. They live completely different lives. This is the double standard, and this is the hypocrisy, whether it be the illegal immigration stuff, whether it be Obama's stuff, whether it be Biden, Holder, I am still the president's wingman. I'm here with my boy. Doesn't sound independent. Okay? All of this stuff is double standards. All of this stuff is tricks. Don't fall for it. This is, by the way, going on in LA. I'm going to mention this again. The LA mayor's race, critically important. What are the two leftist candidates now saying? Now they're coming out with all this nonsense of, we've got to clean up. It's not okay for the encampments to be on the street. You know, I have tried and I'm going to get this done right. And here's the plan we're going to do. And people fall for this. I think LA has now suffered enough that they aren't going to fall for it, or not enough of them. These two people, Bass is the sitting mayor. What is she saying to you? I'm going to make you suffer until you give me a second term. If you give me a second term, then I'll fix it. And this idiot Rahman, leftist communist millionaire, which they most often are when they're in power, what does she say? She's been the head of the homelessness and housing committee on the LA City Council. And now she's going to fix something? This is always the case. Spamberger from Virginia, she ran as a moderate Democrat, kind of like an old school blue dog Bill Clinton Democrat. Then what did she do when she got in? Hard left. Took the James Carville advice. Don't talk about it. Don't run on it. Just get in and rule from the left. Okay? Always. That's what's going on. By the way, that's Obama in that. He used the Department of Justice to go after everybody, including Trump. He spied on Trump, sent the CIA and everybody else after him. Double standards, and they lie. All right, we're going to move on because I want to address a couple more things. They're partially double standard things too. This is we're going to get back to Fauci. Partly I'm on Fauci lately because one of his underlings got indicted recently. And I've read, and I don't fully understand how it all works. He's got one of these auto pen blanket pardons. There's also some statute of limitations stuff going on. I'm not 100% sure where it all falls, but his number one guy has been indicted. And I know nobody gives a hoot about that guy. So I suspect, like every cop show we've ever seen, they're giving him a proffer session and seeing what he can give them on Fauci. By the way, what's a proffer session? A proffer session is the king for a day session, is what they call it. You sit in a meeting with the U.S. attorney or any prosecutor, and you have complete immunity of everything you tell them in that meeting. They cannot use that against you. It's designed so that you'll tell them the things you know that are illegal, and they will decide whether that's enough to make a deal with you to lessen or dismiss the charges against you or not. And then you'll craft an agreement that will list exactly the things that you're getting immunity for or that are part of your deal. And how do I know this? I know this because I once had I think it was an interesting situation. I don't know if it was good or bad, to sit and have a lunch with Johnny Materano, who was one of the guys who was on the lam and then served time in the Whitey Bulger mass murder situation. And when he realized that Bulger was giving all of them up, he turned the tables and he went to the feds and he did a proffer session, and he told me about this. And one of the things he said was, I had to make sure I told them everything, because anything that wasn't in the agreement, if they found out later, the whole agreement goes to zero. So I bring that up to say that this guy, Fauci's friend, who's been indicted, who I can't remember his name right now, Maddens or something, he is likely making one of those deals. Okay? And he probably knows a lot more than we know he knows. All right, so I want to play this. Let me see if I can get this going here. It's more words, but we'll read it. See that? His wife. Okay? The evil Dr. Fauci's wife, Christine Grady, was head of the Department of Bioethics at the NIH Clinical Center, the office that oversaw ethical review during the pandemic. Okay? What do you think she was doing? You think she was independent? Go back to Obama's self-righteous talking down to ordinary Americans that he knows that the Department of Justice shouldn't be used as the president's direction. What's going on there? That's Fauci. He's got his wife in a critical place trying to decide what gets approved by the FDA and what doesn't. Come on now. Come on. That is not, please, do we have to pretend? Oh, she would never approve something that would. Of course she would, and of course she did. Okay? We're going to go to the next one here. There it is. I mention this guy a lot. I don't know him. I just get a lot of information and learn a lot from his site. Okay? Where are we doing here? Okay, here we go. Boom. Okay. This is Nicholas Hulscher. Highly recommend his site. We're going to play this, but first we're going to read it. 107 criminal penalties since 2000. This is Pfizer we're talking about. Okay? Pfizer is a criminal enterprise charged with fraud, bribery, false advertising, kickback schemes, safety violations, paid over $11 billion in fines, illegally manipulated their COVID shot trial data by burying sudden deaths. Let's just listen to this.
Pfizer is a criminal enterprise. You look at their track record, they have over 100 criminal penalties documented, spanning all sorts of things such as bribery, false advertising, kickback schemes, all sorts of horrible things. They've paid out over $10 billion in these criminal fines. And so, they're not to be trusted. They fudged the trial data. They manipulated the trial data. There was fraud going on. There was 20 deaths in the original trial with their injections, with their mRNA shots. There was only 14 in the placebo group. So it literally.
Go back to double standards. We'll go back to all of it. So they are regulated by people like Fauci and his wife and others. Now, fortunately, RFK Jr. is in, and it's a whole new sheriff in town, a whole new sheriff, and we are making progress, and we're going to make more. But you can see they agree to pay fines. They throw money at the problem. They know they can corrupt their trials. If you should follow us on X, give us a follow. It helps the algorithm, the Ord American on X. And one of the things I was replying to somebody on the ivermectin and fenbendazole stuff. They were saying, that we need studies, triple blind studies. No, we don't need triple blind studies. And so what if we do? Those Pfizer things were government approved studies. They just hid the data. By the way, I don't have it handy. It's probably in my thread. I'll try to find it and put it at the top. RFK talks about a study that was done for one of the vaccines. And in the placebo, the people who got the placebo were given a placebo with mercury in it. Why? Because the placebo is trying to show what's the difference in negative outcomes between the thing we're testing and essentially nothing. Why is that important? Well, obviously, if there's huge negative outcomes to the thing we're giving, and there are no negative outcomes, obviously, in the placebo, then we don't want to give it, because the first rule of medicine is do no harm. What did RFK Jr. found? That there was a trial that didn't mention that they put mercury in the placebo. So the negative outcomes were similar. So they were able to say, the FDA was saying, well, if they're similar, then what's the problem? There's no benefit. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's doing the same negative thing as the placebo. Do you see how evil that is? That's what Nicholas Holscher is talking about. Pfizer. I can't even, honestly, I can't believe that Pfizer is still a going concern. I don't know why there haven't been enough lawsuits that force them into bankruptcy. It's beyond frustrating. Okay. Another word, because I love this topic and I think it's so critical. Nicholas Holscher does a lot of great work and posts a lot of great work on ivermectin, fenbendazole, and membendazole. I mention it a lot. I'm going to keep mentioning it. Please pass it on to the people in your life that have cancer or that were recently diagnosed or that had it in the past and maybe are afraid it will come out. The evidence is overwhelming now. We don't need triple blind studies because they'll be corrupted, as we just talked about. We need thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of real life experiments where Americans use it. It's extraordinarily safe. Don't listen to me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to make a medical decision for you. I'm just giving you information that you can then research. I've got a great flag. I turned on my camera. I love my God and my family and my country. Go do your own medical research, but do the research. And I strongly advise you, if you have an oncologist who says, don't use ivermectin, ask him why. Ask him where are the negative outcomes. Ask him how is it being used all over Africa for 30 years if it was so bad. And what's the negative if I use it while we're waiting for my approval for my chemo, or maybe in conjunction with my chemo? These are questions that you can ask. Okay, Nicholas Holscher is a great source for that. And the reason why that's so important is because A, it's going to save lives, but B, if the amount of stress on individuals, families, that translates to society, your extended family, wherever you work, your town, your church, your synagogue, your state, etc. It translates and reverberates out like when you throw a rock in the water and you see the rings, that stress, that drain. If you're not going to be out from work because you've got chemo, if you're not going to put the strain on your family because you're healthy, if you're not going to put the strain on your pocketbook, go back to the left constantly needs us financially, spiritually, and mentally unwell. Part of the way they do it is through our health. If you can stay better or get better faster, you're eliminating the negative effects of the left. Okay? All right. Going to move on. Trump's plan is what we're going to go to next. Right now, by the way, would it be great if I had All Family Pharmacy as a sponsor and I'd do a great ad for them because that's where I get my ivermectin. Maybe someday, not today. Okay. Here we go. Trump's plan. We got a lot of movement happening out of the Middle East. In the last few days, a whole bunch of things have gone on. Okay, let's just read this first. Let me see if I can blow this up. Assuming Iran agrees to give what has been agreed to, which is perhaps a big assumption, the already legendary Epic Fury will be at an end, and the highly effective blockade will allow the Hormuz Strait to be open to all, including Iran. If they don't agree, the bombing starts, and it will be, sadly, at much higher level and intensity than it was before. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, a couple of things to draw attention to, including Iran. He is sending a message to everybody in Iran, not only the bad guys, but maybe the good guys in waiting, okay, that we're not, if we can avoid it, we're not going to devastate your country and you can get back to business as usual, which means revenue as usual. He's doing what he always does. He's communicating to the whole world. I am sure he's back channeling too, but if you're a European leader, if you're a South American leader, if you're an Asian leader, there's nothing left to the imagination in that Truth Social post, which was not that many hours ago. Right before I came on here, I love to check his Truth Social. I didn't see any updates, but what I did see was that there are reports that they are getting close to an agreement. We have read that before, so I'm not holding my breath, but I am saying that we just saw that the UAE and Israel and India have now formed an alliance. In my lifetime, to see the Arabs and the Israelis working together, never would have believed it. That's the Trump effect. throw India in the mix, forget about it. Okay. I also saw a report, this is troubling, we'll have to track it down. I don't know if it's true, that the UAE is now saying that it was the Saudis who hit their oil and gas facility yesterday or Monday. I don't know if that's true. We're going to find out. But this is going to lead into the rest of Trump's plan. So we'll wait and see if good things can happen in Iran. I'm trying to see if I can see anything. I don't see anything popping up in the places that I can look right now. But we'll see. Okay, what's the plan that he's trying to implement? He has turned America into the world's gas station. We are selling more oil and gas than ever. Last time I checked, it was over 6 million barrels a day exported. I think we're up to 13 or so million barrels a day in total production. Okay, at obviously record prices, which sucks for our gas, as I was mentioning before. But it is a short-term problem to get a very long-term and long-lasting effect. OPEC, let me pull this down. OPEC is getting broken up. UAE left it. Venezuela will obviously leave OPEC plus. I suspect Russia will leave too. Why? Because those cartels have a hard time staying together once there's a little fraying. I'm going to make a sports analogy, which I think I've made before. So if you've heard it before, see if I do it better this time. In professional sports, the owners want salary caps, salary aprons, payroll restrictions, etc. Why? Because there's Lola. She's curious. They know that they're so competitive that if they don't have those external restraints, or in my opinion, they force the players to be the restraint on them. They will just keep paying. You see this in European soccer a lot. And they believe, and they're probably right, that the formula won't work very long if they super just pay whoever they want. This is how a cartel works. They are cartels. That's a whole nother story. You can look at the old videos. I'm on the player side. It can have a happy ending for everybody. We'll get back to that another day. But that's the equivalent of the cartel. The cartel keeps the price down so they don't kill each other with competition. Now, my good friend, who I refer to often, over in the Middle East, in the UAE, Ned, not really Ned. By the way, he doesn't like that I chose that name, but I did. So Ned tells me, he's in the oil and gas business, that the cartel doesn't really set the price, that the market sets the price, and that OPEC doesn't really keep the price down. I push back on that because that's not how I see how cartels work, but we're going to find out. Now, he also tells me that most of the Middle East produce their oil at roughly, I think he said, between $7 and $12 a barrel. Whereas in the US, it's probably between 30 and 50 bucks a barrel. So you could see the cartel, as they unwind, sort of try to gain more market share individually, sovereign nations out doing business, saying, well, I don't need to sell it at 100, I'll sell it at 80. Maybe I'll sell it at 70. Maybe I'll sell it at 50. Why do I mention this? With the Straits of Hormuz opened, with the United States producing as much oil and gas as it's producing now, with what I will call relative peace in the Middle East, and so everybody's going to be pumping. UAE is going to be pumping as much as they want. Venezuela is going to be pumping as much as they want and a lot more than they used to. Iran too. The world will not have this sort of black market, which kept a black market price, meaning China was able to buy from these countries like Venezuela and Iran. All of this is going to be downward pressure on price, which means that I suspect strongly, I'm not the only one saying this, so I can't say that this is a genius original idea, although I've had this idea for a long time. I would say by Labor Day, we could see gas prices down to 2.5 to 2.25 most places in America. Because when this situation gets resolved, it's going to resolve quickly, and everybody wants to get back quickly because they're all losing revenue every day. They want to make it up. They want to sell as much as possible. That's going to have downward pressure on price. And we're selling a ton of it. So that's a whole new person in the market that didn't exist, say, a year ago. We also have Venezuela, who, because the leftists, destroy everything, they weren't producing at the same level that they're now starting to produce with our guidance. The Trump plan is working. Okay, the Trump plan is working. We don't see any shenanigans other than in Iran coming from countries trying to invade other countries, doing aggressive things. China's behaving. Xi and Trump are meeting soon. Manufacturing is going great. Jobs are starting to go great. This is a temporary period of time. Gas prices are a big deal. Absolutely no question about it. It's a big deal for me. I cringe. I have to drive by this one gas station and it's like a second hand. It's going up so fast. Okay. But it's working. Okay. So I wanted to mention that. Now, I do, if I can, I want to play one more video here. The great Barbara Boyd from Promethean Action. I just want you guys to hear what she's saying about the IRGC and some of what I just talked about. Let me just make sure I don't have this at 2x. Okay, I usually play it at 2x for myself, but that does not translate well on here.
The U.S. Navy in the Strait of Hormuz. MI6, the CIA, and Mossad all had a hand in building it. They protected.
What she's referring to is building the IRGC. So the Iranian troops that are supposed to be in control right now. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But she's saying that the CIA and MI6 had a role in building them.
It for decades because terrorist chaos in the Gulf keeps oil prices up and high oil dollar pumping. Drill, baby, drill, and Trump's takedown of the IRGC have placed the oil weapon in this president's hands, and he's using it in the opposite way. Not to crush sovereign nations, not to prop up the IRGC as London's chaos asset, the opposite, to unleash American producers and to blow up London's empire of worthless financial paper.
Okay. This is what Trump is doing. Nobody else has been willing to do this. He's not going and getting along. It's called going to get along. He's not doing that. Okay. He is going out, sovereign nation, America first, UAE first for UAE citizens. Saudi Arabia first for Saudi Arabian citizens. Israel first for Israeli citizens. China first for Chinese citizens. Sovereign nations dealing with each other. It all stems from drill, baby, drill. Once we got that going, which happened in Trump 1, which the Democrats and the establishment Republicans have tried to stop, it unleashed this ability of Trump to go in and do what he's doing now. It's working. Okay, I'm watching the clock. I didn't get to it today, but I am going to mention it. The guys in Indiana, you might remember the story. Indiana could have done a redistricting plan, which have given the Republicans more seats. The Republicans in Indiana State House prevented it from happening. They just had an election yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, the day before, yesterday. And the Trump endorsed candidates won and booted out, I think, 5 of 7 or 5 of 8 of the Republicans who led the blockage of that redistricting plan. I am not somebody that believes that these endorsements mean something. The Trump endorsement to the average citizen, his mag, mostly endorsements don't matter. I'll tell you where they do matter. They matter in the political class. Why? Because the political class is looking around, seeing who they should be with, always. Okay? That's important because what the Indiana political class just figured out was holy cannoli. Being with President Trump, being with MAGA is important. I got to keep my job. That's important. Generally speaking, endorsements, fine, better to have them than not, but not a big deal. Trump's endorsements do seem to matter more than most. But at the political class level, the elected class level, the lobbyists, the actual elected class, the people who work for them, all of those people, it really matters. So this Indiana thing will have a reverberation. Okay, this is The Ordinary American. Please pass this on, share it, like, subscribe, follow on the X, The Ord American. Send us emails, theordinaryamerican@proton.me. We are looking for our next short 15-minute video. I've got a couple of ideas, but we'd love to hear what you guys think. Please join us every day at 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. By the way, I'm thinking about changing up the time just for my own schedule, but if you got opinions on another time that would be better, fire away. I'm all ears. Okay, until tomorrow, I'm rooting for you.